So isn't that just the craziest picture in the world? Um, I was talking about finding art this week, like at the beach or whatever, and this popped up on my Facebook feed, and it's a building in Italy. Look how it's painted. That's just incredible. And I wonder if the zip part is not kind of a separate installation, the way it kind of hangs down over that one where the zero is on the zipper, how it hangs over that. I don't know, but that's just pretty darn cool. So always be aware of what is around you, what's super cool, and we go from there. Oh, this is also super cool. I saw this on Pam Holland's site, um, Facebook, and then I went, oh, I love that. And then I forgot about it. And then Cindy Brown, who comes to my retreat, had it on her Facebook. And I went, oh my gosh, it's meant to be. Okay, here's another one. This is art, people. This is art. Isn't that cool? I wonder what country it is. I wouldn't know, but maybe one of you would. We have somebody here from France. Hi, Celine. Beautiful. Just absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So before we get started today, I am going to show you a video that I snagged that a couple people sent me about how to build a quilt frame. It ain't pretty, but it works. And it was a 3 or 4 minute video field piece on HGTV. So we will get to that. And then I'm going to talk about the blanket and buttonhole stitch, kind of the same within the same thing, and some cool variations you can do with it. But my birthday is still being celebrated. Yes. So yesterday I took Lennox to gymnastics, and she said, well, we're coming to your house after, Bubby. And I said, yeah. She said, we have a present for you, and it's so big that we can't wrap it. And I said, did you guys finally get me a pony? I mean, really, did you get me a pony? And she's like, yep, I love this age, 8. Yeah, yeah, yep. I said, well, if you guys got me a pony, you better make sure that there's a trailer that goes along with it so I can get it from here to there. She said, oh, no, we got it, Bubby. But anyways, then my daughter went and picked her up from gymnastics, and they came over, and this is what my pony was. She made this cake. Look, Bubby, it's an ice cream cone. And those are like little melted butterscotch and other things, those poppy things that the kids have that they play with, and they did that and that. And it's so good. It is actually Trader Joe's. It was so good. Trader Joe's cake mix white. So obviously John and I are sitting here looking at this cake going, we can't eat this whole thing. So I called next door because there's kidlings there, and nobody picked up. Okay. So then I called across the street because there's kidlings there, and a fourth one on the way, and didn't pick up. So then Kylie called me back across the street. Kaylee, and I go, hey, I said, are you home? And she said, no, I'm in the hospital. I just had a baby. Oh, we have a new baby in the neighborhood. Love it, love it, love it. Well, the other 3 kids were there, so we cut a portion of the cake and took it over there across the street. And then to the right, Sagen called me up. And I said, hey, they work out at Lawrence Radiation Lab. I don't know if you saw it on 60 Minutes, but they've bottled lightning. They've a new source of energy, and it was discovered here in Livermore. And I said, Sagen, were you or Jay a part of that team? And she said, no, kind of adjacent. She said, but now my kids think I'm cool. So then we took more cake over there. Also, I want to show you. This is pretty funny. At our crab feed, Dan didn't realize it was my birthday, all right? And he realized that at the end of it. And he goes, wait, it's your birthday? And I'm going, yeah, it's my birthday. No, really, is it your birthday? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, he said, I didn't get you anything. I said, well, I'll always take money. I will always take money. So everybody leaves. I come back, or we open the front door. There's a knock on the door. And money. There we go. I got money. What can I do with this in Chinatown? The other thing I wanted to show you, because this is a really cool gift that I get every single year. This was from Adair, and she got this off Snapchat or whatever. Anyways, it's the back of my phone cover. And so I've been getting these since Joey and Shelly got married, and it started with their wedding picture. I think it's like about 30, 35 bucks. If this isn't the best Bubby present on the face of the earth. So Mother's Day is around the corner. And then last but not least, I don't know who sent this to me. This is, I had to warm you up with the butt mooning. I don't know who sent this to me for my birthday, but I would say it's very appropriate. We are not going into the R section of my live. If you're offended by things, close your eyes. It's a jigsaw puzzle of boobs. Whoops, upside down. I don't know who sent it to me, but really good birthday gift. Okay. So, all right. What else do we have here? Oh, so I've been getting some images from you, and this was sent to me, and the tag on it said Skirtland, so I don't really know what your name is, but look how beautiful this turned out. Absolutely beautiful. She went to her own floss and added blue, light blue, for the coral bells or whatever those things are. I don't know what, I just drew them, right? And she said she found she had plenty of yarn or string or floss. But this is what I'm going to say. This has been ironed beautifully, absolutely beautifully, because the stitches are not smashed down. So I don't know if this is how she did it, but as you come to, time to iron, get a thick towel, put it with stitching side down into the towel and iron the back. And if you have that facing on it, fabric prep, just be aware, that it doesn't get dragged up and stuff like that. But that, as an applique, that really preserves the look of your work. All right, and then this is Jean, who did I hope I didn't mix both of you guys up. Jean, who did this to practice to work with her oak shots. She did this little piece. I want to point out a couple things here. First of all, first thing I wondered was, did she piece those little strips of fabric on some of those sticks? And no, I don't think so. I think those were I think I own that fabric, okay? And I know the stuff to the right I certainly own, the other stick that looks like it's pieced. But I think it was really cool how you extended into the border. That's really super cool. And then she basically did straight line quilting, kind of, that matched the curves and mirrored the curves that you're looking at. So it's beautiful. And then Jane sent a picture of hers, and she has a bundle of oak shot she's not ready to cut into until now. Look at this. It's just fabulous. And so I tried to get a blow up of this. This is as good as I could get. But I think that those circles are raw edge fused applique. If I were a betting woman, that's what I would bet. And then she went and got some sort of see-through fabric that then she did the hearts, I think, on top of it once she had done all the quilting. And the reason I'm determining that is if you kind of look in the middle, smack, vertically, there's those little circles. By the way, the quilting's beautiful on this. And it looks like that's just floating on top of it. I would not have thought to do that. I think it's magnificent. And it looks like, if you look to the heart to the right, that sheer fabric has some sparkles in it, probably in the prom dress section, right? Okay. This always makes me nervous when I have to do this, when I have to go grab an image off my screen. So this was probably taped 25 years ago, so be kind. Oh my gosh, be kind. Okay, here we go. Get to my screen, go over to here, push play.
Welcome to Simply Quilts. I made my first quilt when I was in college. It was actually a requirement for me to graduate. And as is true for many college students, I needed help from my dad. He helped me out by building a quilting frame. So when we at Simply Quilts came up with the idea of making an inexpensive do-it-yourself quilt frame, I knew I could count on Dad to help us out again. If there's one thing my father, Joe Slidekey, and I learned about quilt frames, it's that they don't have to be expensive.
You can build a very simple frame for $40 or less. It will be very, very adequate and meet all of the requirements that you'll have as a beginning or as a finishing quilter. The first thing about a quilt frame is that it has to be easy to set up. Hopefully you could set it up with one person. You have to be able to adjust the tension exactly where you want it. And that can be very, very sensitive.
You'll find everything you need to build one at your local hardware store, including the sawhorses, which will turn into a quilt frame with the addition of two 1x2 rods.
The rods for the frame should be 10 inches longer than the backing of your quilt is wide. Now we're going to drill a little hole right in here for that hanger bolt. That's 1 3/4 of an inch in, and it is 3/4 of an inch that way. Now a screw is 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Take the next smallest drill, which in this case is 3/16, and drill down just a 1/2 inch.
Using a pair of vice grips, screw the hanger bolts into place.
Now we take the top board, or the rod, and we put that so that it's flush on the outside. Make a little mark here for a hole in this board and the rod.
Once the guide holes are drilled, slide the top rod onto the hanger bolts, holding it in place with a fender washer and wing nut. The other top rod is clamped onto the overhanging end of the sawhorse, and our quilt frame is ready for a quilt.
This is the basic frame. Now if you want to paint it or stain it, do a little sanding to get the bad printing off, and then have at it. I mean, whatever you want to do, and it can be pretty nice if you actually stain it or paint it.
Using flat-headed tacks, secure the backing to the rods. Remove the wing nuts and roll the excess fabric around the bolted rod. The clamped end allows us to adjust the tension of the quilt top. Okay, Dad, that was a good job, but you know what? It's time to start quilting.
That's the first time I've watched that since he's passed. He's an engineer, okay? Now, when I wrote this book, oh, like the hair too, right? And 20 pounds less. When I wrote this book, gosh, this thing was written a million years ago. Like, probably it'll be at your library. When was it written? I can't see. Anyways, he made me build a quilt frame to put in this book, and I did mine a little bit different, okay, a little bit differently, and I decided to drop a hole in the crossbar on both sides, so it gave me a little more tension control. It's super easy. I built these sawhorses from scratch, and I would just recommend you buy pre-made ones. Just make sure they don't have like plastic on top. You would want one with wood on top. So it's cheap, it works. It's easier to set up than Joe Cunningham's, and I think his is the more absolutely going back to the basics, and then this is the next one. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And now it's here caged in as if you want to say to somebody who has some woodworking tools, man, can you help me out? And if you go to a place like Home Depot or Lowe's, they'll cut the boards the size you want, okay? They will do that. All right. Okay, so now what are we doing? Now we are going to talk about the good old blanket stitch. And now I have to get reorganized here and get this over here. And I've used the blanket stitch a lot in the olden days when I would, even in the newer days too, but in the olden days when I might do machine applique or hand applique around the edge of things. But here on this one that I'm filling in, this is a modified blanket stitch right here, modified. I don't think I like how bumpy that is, but if you know this, the basic blanket stitch, you can do stuff like this, and that makes an absolutely beautiful fill, in my humble opinion. So what I probably did on this was I took my purple disappearing pen and went down the middle and then kind of came down the sides like that, so I knew where to stay in. And or I just came a hair from the edge on that. All right. So let's start with just a regular blanket stitch. And I'll be talking about the Shannon project at the end here. Okay. I, I'm becoming, I'm becoming dependent on this pen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. Okay. And if you want, you could even do cross. Again, you don't have to, but I'm just becoming, it's kind of like my double stitch regulator on my Q20. It's not good. All right. Well, actually, it's wonderful. All right. It always takes me a minute to get organized here. I'm going to come up. All right. I always have to think this one through. And then I'm going to come up here. I'm come over just a little bit. So what's happening is I'm coming up here, and then basically this thread is underneath the tip of the needle. All right? Telling you, I actually am working on some ornaments right now that are wool, and I'm blanket stitching the edge. Okay. Now what if I wanted to go the other way? I'm super easy. Let's say I wanted to go this way. I would do a better job than that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. Like this. Like this. Like this. Okay, what if now I wanted to do this? Let me see. I'm telling you, I have to get my brain around it. Here's this. Okay. Now why don't I go just a little bit shorter? And a little bit shorter. Oh, I can't wait to see that baby across the street. When they had the other kid, it was COVID, and we had to stay like 10 feet away and come over in a plastic bubble. Or you could also do one long, one short, just by varying the lengths of the stitches and the directions. There's about 10,000 million things you could do with the blanket stitch. Okay, now, let me do one more. If I were working on this for reals, I would say, oh gosh, is there anything else I can do to this to make it quite wonderful? Well, yes, there is. All right, let me finish this off. I'm going to turn it over. I've just been so addicted to this hand stitching. I'm sorry if you guys aren't, but I'm your fearless leader. Here we go. 1, 2. Yes, today is my R-rated version of my live. All right, what would I do? What would I do here? I could come in the other way and go like this with this pink, with this light pink. So it's kind of going into each other, right? Or what I might do are more French knots. I love my French knots. Okay, what if I did French knots up here? Okay, also, I don't think I showed this on the French knot. I love working on this lap app because I can stab down into it. Okay. Okay, you know what? I didn't thread another color, but why don't I do this here? Maybe in another color I would be doing this. Bring this up the height of the French knot and throw in a lazy daisy. There we go. Grab your phones right now, please. I'm going to show you something neat in a minute here. Your phones with a camera. I have something from Road to California I think you people will really like. And so forth. Just freaking adorable, okay? So this is what you can do. You know, just you take your basic stitch and then think about flipping it, think about different length sticks that you can do on it, think about intertwining them, etc. There's just so much you can do with this crazy little blanket stitch. So again, this book, which I know we don't have in the store, we're out, but maybe your library has it, maybe Amazon. It starts with the basic blanket stitch, which was here, left, right. There we go. And then let's look at some of these examples right here. Look at this. Isn't that cool? I just love that. And then here. And I guess in here, these are all blanket stitches out here feeding into the next one. Probably started from the inside out. And then here's the, you know, some this way, some this way. Okay. Oh, look at that on an angle, then put beads on the other side. It's just endless. It's just absolutely endless. Okay, if you don't have your phone, that's fine. You can come back and watch this again. I want to show you something. We talked about this. Road to California started yesterday or last night, and if you we're in the ancillary room across from the big hall. Why isn't this going here? There we go. And it's an exhibit of people who have been on the show. And then what the gals did is they went and they put QR codes on it. Take a picture of the QR code. I'm going to do it right now on mine. I just found out who my puzzle was from. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of it. And then as soon as I take a picture, I'm going to hit this, and then you can go through and see our exhibit and watch the videos. So they're like about 3 or 4 minutes. They're from the show. Whoops. And then it takes you here. And you press that. Well, anyways, it'll take you through, and it'll take you through all the quilts that we have there. All the quilts and how they were made. Because again, we are a teaching site. So I just love it. Sharon, I don't know when the books are going to be back in stock. Okay, so on Friday, from my lips to God's ears, we can start the Shannon Project, okay? And one of the things we have here is, of course, the scarves for chemo, okay? I might not have to have chemo. for chemo that you can just go and you can gift your local chemo place, and that somebody will. I mean, I just am wearing this anyways because it's chilly outside. But also, when we were talking about this, Julie, who works at Shannon, said, oh, I don't want that one, I want this one, that these pillows are really great for people who've had mastectomies. And so one would be for chemo, the scarf. This is for mastectomies. It's to go under your arms. And they have some really cool fabric. It's in the upper right-hand corner that we will have kits for that. And this is a little more complicated to make than the scarf, but nothing that any of you can't handle. And as I mentioned Wednesday, the first 150 that sell, all the proceeds are going to the Dr. Susan Love Foundation for breast cancer research. I mean, that is so incredibly generous of them. And anything else on that page we'll be giving a donation to, because we'll have this for kits, very, very reasonable. We'll have the pink mat, a pink rotary mat if you just want to buy yourself a present, or you know, a quilter that might be going through this. And all proceeds will go. We've been busy because of Road to California and all that, but we're hoping this can launch Friday in the store. And when it does, I will let you know. All right, first 150. Okay, so that is pretty much it for today. I'm gonna make sure. What does the book look like? It's a good book. And like I've said before, I don't own just one book. I own a bunch. And this is the one that I'm just going through right now. I mean, like, look on the cover. So that is just your chain stitch. And then you just loop-de-doo in and out. Well, maybe you hadn't thought about that, you know? There's another one right there. So it's just a good one to add to your library. All right, new comments. The book on order. Oh, books are on order. Creative Stitches. Yay! Yeah, please show the grid stitches. I'll tell you what, I'll do that Friday. And I think we're talking about the same thing, which I just love, where it's all these grids like this, and then you tack it down. Let me grab and see if this is what you're talking about. Here we go. Should we do that on Friday? That's a pretty wonky one. I've gotten better at it. Oh, yes, right here and here. Yeah, on the fruit. So we'll do that Friday. How about that? I just decided that's what we're doing. Thank you for asking. Okay. Okie dokie dokie. You got it, Susan. Friday. So I'll see you. Have a great day. I'm going to go back to my secret project I'm working on. And my best friend Karen sent me the boob puzzle. She just texted me. Hey, it's all off bets at this point. All right. Have a great, great day and see you Friday. Bye-bye.